Okay, so today we're scrapping silver. We've accumulated some weighted sterling pieces over the last couple of weeks, and today I'm going to bust them all up. I have about $100 into all of this stuff, and my experience tells me I have somewhere around 10 or 11 ounces of silver. And I'm going to bust it up. I'll show you how I do that. It's a pretty simple process. I've already done a couple. These were, you can see the weights are taken out of the bottom. See, the stuff's all like, it's weighted and there's concrete in there, and this is what it's like once you get it out. It's a lot lighter. So it's just a thin skin of sterling over this concrete base, and I'll show you how I bust it out. But so just these ended up being 1.3 ounces. And like these usually produce right around an ounce of silver. So you can kind of know if you see one this big, you know, and you can get it for $20, you got $25 or $30 worth of silver in there. And the last time we did a video, silver was right around, I think, $20 an ounce. And right now it's like $32, $33 an ounce. So, you know, the price has been going up steadily. Anyway, okay, so here's, oh, and we have this little thing, right? Coming close on that. And it's a salt shaker. If I had a salt and pepper, I'd probably keep it and sell it. So this is a sterling top, which does not weigh very much, so you wouldn't want to be paying much for this. And this is a sterling overlay, but it's really not worth getting off. You can see I started scraping a little bit there, and it comes off in such small pieces that I really can't, you know, get anything out of it. So that's just going in the trash. So okay, so here's the way they build these things. Is there's a small, normally I'd use smaller pliers, but these are the only ones I have here right now. So this, it's like three pieces. There's this piece, there's a cap on both ends. So basically you just, see, you just grab that cap. Again, like I said, smaller pliers are good, but I don't have all my tools here, so just have to work with what I got. And so that piece comes off. There's no, that's all your sterling. And then this bottom piece comes off, and that's your bottom piece. And now you can see how this is all. So you basically just bust that up. Pretty simple. Doesn't take a lot of work to get that out, and they've usually got a couple little sticks or something, you know, holding the two pieces together. And that's it right there. Just like that. So that's what you get out of one of those. Now this, I'm guessing, it's about 6/10 of an ounce.
Do you want to get the scale?
Yeah, let's get a scale.
All right, I'll be right back.
Okay. So I thought this would be about 6/10 of an ounce. Let's see, this is just regular ounces, not troy. So, you know, my estimates are pretty close. It's 0.53 of an ounce and not 0.6 like I guess. So
what is it in troy? Let's see.
Can we go to troy ounces?
Yeah, hang on a sec. That's right there. Okay,
so 0.448. So it's just under half a troy ounce. So this one, which is a bigger model, these are usually closer to 9/10 of an ounce. So let's see what happens. Again, you just yeah, the silver on here is a little thicker. I can feel it. So this will weigh up nicely. So basically, you just, you know, peel that. Well, this is coming out. You never know how they're going to come out. See that stayed in there. It didn't. The little cup didn't peel out. So you just, you know, somehow grab a hold of that. Yeah, that one's a little stuck in there. Yeah, again, smaller pliers would be a little easier. Yeah, that's stuck right in there. So that one's kind of a pain. Well, let's see. We'll pull this bottom off. You can see the seams right there. I'm just peeling that. Yeah, this is a stuck one. I hope it, well, see, there we go. I want to do is clean as much of this stuff off as possible so you're not weighing cement. And if you go to scrap it in and someone sees cement, they're not going to give you the right value, because they're going to think it's not all silver. And then you just bust this out, and it just falls right out of there. So look what they have in here. That's why I won't. The size of that thing they had holding that together. Big piece of lead or tin or something. Steel, it's hard to tell. You never know. They just use all kinds of stuff. You just bust that cement out. Yeah, see, now that piece fell right out. And then somehow we got it, still cement in there. That's why this is still glued in, cemented in. There we go. Comes out one way or the other, right? Just that little piece of cement out. So that one's all clean. This one should weigh closer to an ounce.
Let's check out.
Let me just fold it all up so I can get it all in the same. Put it in this little cup. Kind of.
All right, so this is, hang on, let me tear it out. Oh. And that's on Troy.
Troy ounces, so this should be about 0.75 Troy, maybe.
Oops.
Ooh. Okay, so that's more than 1 troy ounce. So this, like I said, the silver seemed a little thicker on these, so that's pretty darn good right there. That's $30, $32 right there. Well, we got to take 0.925, so it's about $30 in current scrap value right there, just for that piece. So we'll see what it all turns out to. So anyway, so on and so forth. When I get these all busted out, we can weigh them, and I'll show you what we got for our $100. And some of them come apart a lot easier. Then hardly even needed to. A lot of times it's what they have in between that makes it easier or harder to take apart. That one, see, that one came apart super easy. And again, that's another, that's a smaller one, so that's in that 6/10 range. So there we go. Get it all. We'll put it all into the bag, and then we'll weigh it. And I think I have 10 or 11 ounces, so we'll see. All right, so you saw the first couple I did went pretty easy, and that was this, this kind of material. Broke up real easy, and then I started running into some that had this plaster in there, and they're a lot more difficult. Let me show you. I mean, it's still not that difficult, but see, that popped right off, and then the little candle cup stayed down in there, so we're gonna have to work to get that out. And also on the bottom, I have 4 of these, so I've already done a couple, but I started running into, I wouldn't call it trouble, but difficulty, so I just thought I'd show you how to work around that if it happens. See, this has got, see, the bottom didn't just peel right off, because this is, well, I'll show you why. That's got a little, it's like a little cup that goes down into the plaster or whatever. And this is taking a little more, you can see, and that's why that little piece didn't come out, because it's a little cup. So we can just work that out, and so we get this little piece. And then and they're using a different type of, like a rebar almost. Like if you're pouring concrete, which is exactly what, this is kind of concrete or plaster or whatever they mix up. But they treat it kind of like a concrete, so this little piece of rebar to keep everything together. You can see this one was a lot more, taking a lot more work than the other ones did. So, see, there's that little cup that fell out. And now we still got that. Be careful, this stuff's sharp. I cut myself once already. better built than the last ones we were looking at. I can probably push that through this way. Yeah, stuff sharp. So anyway, you can see how these are put together. These are the different kind of things I use to keep them together. This is the toughest one so far. See, I got 3, and then you got those, and then you just have the little sticks. Those are the easiest ones to clear out. And so that's all cleared out. Anyway, I just wanted to show you that, you know, they're not all the same. That one's a little different and a little more difficult to deal with. But we're getting there. Got 3 more to go, and then we'll weigh them up. Alright, so yet another variant. These have been the most difficult ones so far. Again, not insurmountable, but you can see how this started out, and after all that pounding, I've got just this left. And so, you know, at some point, if it was gold, yeah, I'd probably go for it. But let me just see how difficult that's going to be to get this last little bit of silver, and I may not. Yeah, see, it's just not. It's just not giving it up. You know, it's going to be, in my estimation, too much work. So I'm going to stop at that point. You know, at some point, there's no return on your time involved. Because this one, as you can see, came out the same way with that little cup stuck in there. But the bottom didn't have that little thing, so that came off a lot easier. But then it's easy enough to get, you know, this part out. But then you got this little bugger. I can get this part off easy enough. Well, I say easy enough, right? All relative, right? It's harder to get this piece than any of the other ones so far. At some point, you know, the ROI is just not there. Return on investment for the time. And the chance of whacking your fingers, too. You gotta be careful with that. That could hurt. Oh, wrong way. Yep.
Wrong way. Wait a minute.
So, you see, basically just peeling this back. You can almost, well, just about peel it off with your hands. And then we get to that stage where, you know, it's just going to take so much work to get that last little bit of silver off it that I'm not gonna go for it. Didn't waste much there, you know, maybe a couple grams. So, like I said, if it was gold, I'd be going for it. So, here's our stack. Let's see what it weighs. Let's turn it on. We're on ounces Troy, right? OZT?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know if that's gonna, how that's gonna.
There, I can see it now.
Yeah, this is too big to get on that scale properly, so we'll have to do a different. Yeah, we can do it with this, because that'll, it's just.
Hang on, let's tear that out.
The bag was flapping over the edges, that's why we couldn't get it to weigh right. Okay, the whole thing weighs 11.87. You know, I could have done it backwards, but this seemed easier than the other way. And this stuff weighs 2.81, and we got 11, so we got 9.07 troy ounces total, which is right about 10 ounces of regular ounces. So there we go. We got 9 troy ounces of silver for $100, and that's about, at current rate, that's close to $300. I mean, to me, it's like buying money. So, anyway, I hope that was an interesting video for you. I always like doing this. It's fun for me. And we just add this to our pile of scrap. We don't know what we're going to do with it yet. But anyway, thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe to the channel. hit the little bell, you know when we put up another video, which hopefully will be soon. All right, till next time. Bye.